Hey there, internets. Welcome to Expired Films. I'm Kevin, and this is World Wide Pinhole Photography Day recap for 2020. So every year on April 26th, we have Worldwide Pinhole Photography Day, which is an interesting day to get out, do some pinhole photography, and it's kind of a community event. You can submit your images online if you like. Most of the pinhole groups on Facebook and Flickr and Instagram post photos, as well as the organization itself posts them online, and you can submit them, which is pretty cool. So for this one, I built a camera specifically for this day, which is this little guy here. So as you can see, with a foam core and gaffer's tape special. Since I built it, I have upgraded the tripod socket. The original one was not quite up to snuff. So this was an interesting build. So one of the things that I talked about that I disliked about a previous build was the overhanging cap for the light tight top. So that's been corrected. So the way that I did that is it's basically two boxes in one. So this fits pretty close to flush. If I remove this top, it's pretty snug fitting. You'll be able to see that it's basically two boxes in one. And one of the things that I really liked about some of Joe Van Cleve's videos, as you can see I watch his channel quite a bit, is the ability to store exposed and unexposed photo papers in the camera so that I can take it and use a film changing bag and switch it out. So I wanted to build a camera where I could take photos with me and it would be more than one shot per adventure, and I wanted to make sure that it was small enough to fit in the film changing bag that I had. So I built the camera around that and the photo paper size. So it's an unconventional size now, but it's basically 3.5 by 5. So what I do is I cut a 5 by 7 inch piece of photo paper directly in half under a red safe light using a paper cutter, and that gives me my photo size. So what might be difficult to see in here, there is a frame behind which you can slide the photo paper. So there'll be a little border of unexposed image around each size. And depending on how the light works or how much light leak I have around that, there might be some spillover, which you'll see. So behind that, so that frame is here, there is a taller wall, and that helps protect the exposed and unexposed photo paper in the back from light when the shutter is open. And I'm just using a piece of electrical tape for that shutter. And then I stuck in the back a dark slide from a Polaroid piece that has a little tab on top. So I use that to keep track of which photos are exposed and which are unexposed. And so then I can just reach in and feel where that is and know where new photo paper should go and exposed ones are. So that's basically that process there. As you can see here behind my very complex electrical tape is the pinhole. So I built these kind of little ridges here. I had kind of envisioned something like an ability to hold it, but the exposures are so long that's really not happening. So it really doesn't need to be a tripod mounted camera. The camera has both on top and side viewing dots so that you can kind of get an idea for where your framing is. These were just kind of generally posted where I thought they should be. And it turned out that they're not perfectly correct because the camera is actually wider in each direction by a few degrees, but still, if something is within these viewing dots, they will be in the image. So I calculated that roughly the field of view should be 103 degrees. I used the Mr. Pinhole calculator, which I'll link in the bottom, which basically helps you build a pinhole camera, figure out what math is involved, and get all of that squared away. So with the focal length is about 62 millimeters, the aperture is 0.33 millimeters that I used using the drill pin method, which gave me about an f188 aperture size, and I kind of rounded that up to f190 and when I was doing my calculations. So a sunny day exposure there with the ISO3 rated photo paper is about 46 seconds. We don't have those bright sunny days here a whole lot, and we especially didn't back in April. So my exposures were a bit longer than that. So this is one of the first shots of the day. So I had mixed my developer, and I think I did some math incorrectly. The developer was really, really hot, and I was getting some very rapid development and some over development. So as you can see, this is super contrasty. There wasn't You can see there's some developing images, some sections where either my fingers were wet. And generally I kind of dig the aesthetic that it produced, but it was not the intended effect. The frame is clearly visible, but you can see where light may have come in unevenly, plus my developing errors there. So this is the original scene. There's an abandoned gas station not far from where I live, and it's kind of a place that's really interesting to shoot. It's pretty readily available. It's right off the road. There is quite a bit of traffic on this road, but it's pretty easy to find some quiet time if you're looking forward. There's lots of interesting textures, and I kind of shoot here a bit. So this image is taken from the distance where the pinhole camera actually was. So you can see that that is quite a bit wider than you would see here, orientation of the photo aside. This was the first image that I developed when I didn't realize just how hot the developer was mixed. So I basically burned away sections of the image. I was fairly close to here, so this was one of the first shots where I was trying to get a feel for how wide it is. And this is the location of the camera. So I took this as a panoramic to try to get a similar field of view for what the image would show. And that's what we're looking at there. This is the camera itself, so this is just an example so I could show the viewing dots and the general setup of the camera. And these were basically my favorite images from the day. I particularly like this one. I've shot this frame before, and I'll probably head back there to shoot again. But it was the first time this camera was out. It was the first time I took paper negatives out in a changing bag, and it was lots of firsts. So it was fun to have a first trip for this camera, first custom built camera, and first full-on pinhole photography day. So I look forward to using this camera a bit more. Hopefully I'll get the developing down a bit tighter, but I kind of dig this aesthetic. So I play a lot of role-playing games still through my teenage years, and this had a decided Wraith the Oblivion feel, and I really kind of enjoy the way this looks. It's kind of a Appalachian Gothic set of images. So if you took part in World Wide Pinhole Photography Day in 2020, let me know in the comments. I will link a few videos for camera construction and for the event itself. It's a really neat event, and if you get out there, I think you'll find that a lot of the kind of more famous pinhole photographers on the internet take part, and it's a really good way to kind of force yourself to get out and make some images. I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. Feel free to share your results of World Wide Pinhole Photography Day, and I'm interested in seeing some of your photos as well. So if you have any links, drop them in the comments below. Thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you guys next week.